All right. Good morning. Good morning. Fragilities, thank you very much for the follow. All right. Not sure even what screen to put on. Do this. And let's set up a Word document to write down the suggestions. course it's giving me trouble. Why would it not? There we go. So, I will mostly be waiting for folks to come in. And until then, I'm just going to be going through my notes. I'll do this by myself if I really have to, guys. But, yeah, it's just dragging the stream down too much, so I won't try to multi-stream. Hello, hey, let me get this volume adjusted. Are you on the stream or just on Discord? Gotcha, gotcha. Well, welcome to the brainstorming session.
What we got on the agenda today?
Well, I need to figure out what my next big project's going to be for streaming when I get back from vacation.
Do you have any ideas in mind, or is this just kind of like we got to get those ideas?
I have a lot of ideas. It's going to be narrowing things down, basically. Down, turn this up. Okay, now you should be coming through. Are you okay with being on stream, voice on stream?
Yeah, that's fine. I think I can get you a few more viewers.
All right. Well, should I just dive into some ideas and pitch them out? See if any of them look appealing.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you're thinking about working on.
Okay, this one. This one was suggested to me in a group chat, and I thought that would be a really fun thing to, a fun premise to explore. It'd be more, obviously dystopian. Or I could touch more on the same Gift of the Goddess universe, the novel that I just finished the second draft of, because I have ideas in that. I'm gonna get this Discord set up to do, because I do push to talk for gaming, so I'm gonna set this up to just get my voice. Because I don't know if you got the stream turned down or what.
Oh yeah, because I didn't want the double.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I figured.
But I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this premise you shot up there, and I think it's very much a go big or go home thing. This could be very very good with good execution.
Yeah. Because I was in a group chat completely unrelated to writing, and they know I'm an author, so um, it got on the topic of I think it was that, I don't know what the show is, but it was the one where the lady had a social credit score and like couldn't get on a plane because she got docked for it, and it was like likes and retweets and stuff was.
It was probably an episode of Black Mirror, and this premise reminded me of a different episode of Black Mirror.
Did it? Okay, well, yeah, go ahead with that then. I'd be interested to hear what it reminded you of.
I forget the exact name of it or like the whole premise of it, but basically, it is a very similar like dystopian consumerist society where everyone is like judged based on their social value and their everything's like gamified, and there's like an American Idol competition, and so like the core premise of it around it is like the protagonist makes a friend who's going to try out for this like American Idol thing, which is one of the only ways to like move up in class, and he like goes through this whole plan to like get on the stage and then like in front of the camera with everyone watching, like threaten to kill himself and give this whole like anti capitalism anti societal speech.
Okay.
But then he ends up being integrated into the class structure. He gets like his own talk show basically, where he's like subsumed by this society, and it was just a very very interesting, very bleak twist, which Black Mirror almost always has. But you could easily go the other direction with something like this. Like you wouldn't necessarily have to do like an inversion of expectations there. Like this could easily be a story about like a hero creating change, or a hero like perpetuate ending up like defeated and perpetuating this unjust society.
Yes, and the that was kind of the premise that the person who had this idea originally, which I have his permission to use this idea in a story. In fact, it's why he brought it up. Um, that was more his line of thinking there, that latter.
Yeah, I so think for this premise, you'd really have to like think about what I don't know your like writing process, but I always start with the end in mind. So I usually have the ending hammered out, and then I go back to the beginning. And I feel like this is a premise where you would really have to figure out like what you're gonna do with that last handful of scenes.
Yeah, figuring out the ending would probably be advantageous in a story like this. Like what exactly I would want to accomplish with it to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Because this is very much a premise where you are saying something.
Right.
I think it would be hard not to, even if you didn't intend to.
Right, yeah.
Literally, just like the premise.
Backing up through the notes here. Problem with using my Telegram as a notepad is stuff's not always easy to find.
Yeah, I have a throwaway Discord channel or server exactly for that, and like note taking, and it just gets messy. I should really just use Scrivener for that, like a big like dump project.
Okay, so on this premise, I feel like this story would be better served writing a more mainstream way. Yeah, very 1984. Definitely go check. Good to see you. Let's get this a little bigger. Yeah, how are you doing today? But do you have any thoughts on that one, Kazak? The whether this would be better served as a mainstream story or a furry story? Because I'm leaning towards more mainstream.
Yeah, I don't see, unless you really really leaned into some like sensory aspects of certain furry species. None specifically come to mind. This doesn't like scream furry story to me, but it could go either way for sure. But when I read the premise, I didn't envision furries.
Right. Yeah, neither did I. On hold with the State Department, they said my wait time is over 90 minutes, so that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I suppose this could be like a more Orwellian thing, but I mean, one of the big things to figure out is how can this person, because this is a copy paste, doesn't necessarily have to be a man, it could be anybody. how does this person realize that they can speak without this control device? Like, there'd have to be some kind of... So, how about this? What about starting the story in media res? Main character. Main character's in some kind of trouble. And then maybe flashing back to when things are normal.
You know, I want to say that's a trope I usually don't like, but I just beta read a book that did exactly that, and I very much like how they did it, and I think it added to the story.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the thing with tropes is, if they're done well, you know, it's all about execution. Something doesn't have to be cliche. Something doesn't have to be cliche if it's done well. I mean, cliches can be good if they're done well.
Mm-hmm. It's a prefab. You just have to work it into like the overall structure of the story in an elegant way.
We got here in chat. Be more futuristic, yeah. Yeah, this will be a more futuristic setting because obviously we don't have control devices implanted into our body that don't allow us to say certain things.
Well, yeah, some people.
Include an alien species, so do more of a sci-fi bent. Main character envisioning what could happen if they reveal their device is faulty. That is not a bad suggestion. Well, I planned on actually incorporating a little bit of that anyway, because the main character is going to have to discover that their device is faulty first, and then they're of course going to be worried about what that means. Flip the flashback trope 180 degrees. What do you mean? You mean they start out knowing it, and the story would be them struggling with this?
Mm-hmm. I could see like illustrating their anxiety over it almost, because this would most certainly be like a life ruining thing.
Previous thought about the alien species? Oh yeah, I mean, it certainly would be. What if they're so far ahead that they don't even fathom that this technology could fail? something that would make this person truly stand out if they have something. Yeah, oh yeah, well, but technology is so advanced that the idea of something being faulty is just foreign.
Right, like this is just the way that society is, and for it to be any different is like completely alien.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of able to illustrate that character growth from like part of the crowd, like unthinking, unquestioning part of society to um like what can I do with this and what will happen to me if I do something with this.
Yeah, exactly. Justin Timberlake movie? Uh, I've not seen it.
I think the big thing with this premise is, like I said, going to be finding out exactly how it's all going to wrap up. Because, like, how is he going to affect like a huge like domino effect on society with just one voice, right? And that could be the central theme, like that could be the central message, like, um, your singular voice can make a difference.
Right, yeah.
Just creating that situation.
The idea of a person in the crowd suddenly changing the status quo, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Like if you wanted to do a very on the nose criticism of modern day society, you could have like a class system and like two political parties, and they have like each have like half control of the population, and so half vote one way and half the other because that's the only way that they're like permitted to vote. And then they come in as this wild card and like change the course of this election or this vote or something like that. Just trying to think like what is a situation in which we can have this one little cog in a machine like have this outsized effect on society. And I guess it doesn't necessarily need to go there either.
That could be a really good play on it, but I'm not sure. I try not to write anything overtly political. I mean, they say politics isn't everything you write, but I don't. I never
making a book about politics.
Right? Yeah, I never specifically. If I could talk, I never specifically set out to write a political story. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't be willing to try. I'll try anything once. If I like it, I might do it again.
You could also go like like a vigilante or like rebellion sort of angle, where maybe they figure out how to disable other people's devices, and then they start this like grassroots like rebellion.
Right. I've considered that angle. I don't think it would be as impactful. Um, and this is just personally. I don't think that it would tell the kind of story that I would want to tell with the premise.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I don't think I could pull it off well with this premise. Personally, me.
What I'm getting from from the premise is that like big stakes, and most of the book is just working up toward the time or character growth necessary to challenge those big stakes, like breaking a long-standing like divide or something like that.
Right.
Like again, coming back to the political party thing, like being the sole voice that like breaks a stalemate.
Right. Yeah. Lots of introspection. I still think starting in media res is going to be the way to go. Um, and then doing the flashback thing.
Like they're being chased down an alleyway by the voice police.
Maybe. But I mean, that's gonna depend on how advanced is the society. Do they even have enforcement arms? I mean, has the status quo become so
Mm,
so ingrained that there is no such thing as an enforcement arm?
why would they need enforcement?
Exactly. Going into execution, yeah, going to be executed. I could see that angle too. But again, that's going to take some more hammering out what exactly is how exactly advanced this society is, technologically anyway. Socially, it doesn't sound very advanced at all.
I mean, if it's such an advanced society where like enforcement of laws become unnecessary, then it would make sense that they don't even have means to like execute people, I guess. So like they're just being ushered along onto a the precipice of a big hole by a robot or something. I think that strikes me as a very classical like framing device.
Right. Um. I mean, I guess we could go like the V for Vendetta route. Not the movie, the actual graphic novel. Maybe this person is just like an agent of chaos, wants to bring about anarchy. I don't know. That doesn't to me that doesn't sound like it would fit. It's just saying it out loud.
Oh, you know what? I just had a thought. A computer that is in control of like these devices or like some other core infrastructure of the society that is operated by voice recognition. So like you could do this whole like infiltration sort of thing, um, and then the kind of closing, like the third act is them actually enacting this big change.
Okay, what would the angle be? Because I mean, like, I mean, as I just wrote down, that sounds like a utopian type society.
Well, it can easily, if you go with like a class system where there are some people who are allowed to speak, um, and some people who aren't, like most people are not, um, it becomes sort of like a class struggle sort of thing where it's a dystopia because most people do not have the authority or the station to enact that kind of change.
Okay. Stop modifying my thing there. Oh well, whatever. Um, yeah. So maybe like the AI predetermines um, what they're going to do in society, what their job's going to be, because it does the whole thing. Because Grocheck said something very like Matrix-like. Um, sounds very Matrix-like, and I kind of agree with that. But it's like, have you ever seen Psychopaths?
No, I have not.
I highly recommend. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the same thing. Like, violence is extremely foreign to people in this future society because there's a network of supercomputers basically that control society. Like you take your tests, you do your exams, and it determines what you're gonna do, who you're gonna be.
Hmm. Yeah, I think from that angle, like you could have it where these devices only allow you to speak in situations where you would, like, say you're going to work in in this society, and the AI like flips on your device so you can speak into the door lock and get into your office or whatever. And then there's this concept of like speaking out of turn, which only the protagonist is able to do. And then because this society has advanced so far beyond like crime and like people doing things they aren't supposed to, there is no sort of security or safeguard to like these things are always unlocked and always on. So you could just as easily like say, okay, computer, open the door to the nuclear reactor.
Maybe robots have freedom to speak and humans are controlled. Very distorted Isaac Asimov type. Okay.
That's interesting. If you think about it from that perspective, like the robots would be controlled by this central intelligence, who always goes by this like these operating principles, and so, but it's the humans who kind of have to be muzzled in that aspect because they are unpredictable.
Okay. I'm going to just call that like agents. If I could type. Yeah, and I still misspelled it. What the heck? Yeah, I'm typing today. Say like a. Not exiting. Okay. The laws of robotics were converted to protect humanity by limiting their ability for free will. Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that done often in dystopias and sci-fi's, and that can be a very fun premise to play with. 0.02%, the story that opened Dissident Signals, played with that. I thought it did a pretty good job with it.
I think both of these are pretty good angles, and they both are different. Like they deal with different themes and have different strengths. So like you could do this sort of class warfare, sort of rebellion, upturning society, or it could be just more like an agent of chaos, like breaking out of like this perfect order, like robot maintained, robot enforced order.
Language engine in society is so advanced that if MC breaks the rules, the AI doesn't remember how to respond. I like that idea.
Excellent.
So you can also focus on the idea of having an identity crisis because it doesn't know what to do. Sorry, just kind of mulling that over. That sounds like a fun angle.
Mm-hmm.
Like the main
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the main character dealing with this sudden change, this realization, at the same time the system not really knowing how to handle it.
And so almost breaking out of this like however many decades long like stagnation, like perfect order at the cost of basically humanity.
Hmm. Yeah, that could be really interesting. The MC's assumption that his family will die is simply because he was told that would happen. That's quite possible. And as far as the initial premise goes, it wasn't mine to begin with. So it was just sent to me, basically like you should write this story, and I liked it so much that I just copy pasted. Um, but circling that back to, I mean that would also take some more sussing out because it's like is the notion of state violence even a thought to people? Is it something that just enters? Okay, so I'm gonna write as a consideration like main characters needs, wants, and ghost, because that will have to be pretty well fleshed out before I can really start this.
I do like that dynamic though of the computer going like okay,
Yeah.
what makes humans scared, and they're like looking through their dossier. What can I do here? And it just settles on, I'll blow up your family. And I imagine that being a bluff because it probably doesn't even have a way to do that.
Yeah.
But just the idea of that is so foreign to this protagonist that maybe it is a very effective deterrent.
So. Yes, yeah, but that's something that just came to mind. How much of the history of humanity would this control system even know? Somewhere along the line, maybe with the people implementing it, did they like purge the bad things from history? You know, so that the machine wouldn't take those and learn from them.
Or perhaps it was programmed to sanitize, like Rochek is saying, sanitize history so that it like it has a untainted basis, I suppose, to build society on. And like maybe the idea was to train those things out of society by like completely removing them as concepts, like even from its own like programming.
Build a utopia, but not what doesn't work. Yeah, yeah.
Or here's a fun like midpoint twist. Maybe all of those things are like archived as like a separate copy of the AI or something like that. Um, and as a result of the protagonist's actions, like the computer is left with the only option that they have left to stop this force of chaos is to like unearth this history that gives them a solid basis to like um counter what they're doing and like stop them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Grochek, I'm glad you're enjoying this. I was a little bit worried about how like a brainstorming session would go, but this has been really cool. I do like that idea though. And so control system digs up the cache of human atrocities.
Love that with some whole milk.
um, that brings up another whole nother can of worms. So, how will the system learning about these things change the system?
Right. And so like just from that, just from like sort of the synthesis of this forbidden archive knowledge, like things are probably going to change pretty drastically and not necessarily for the better.
Right. Right. Yeah, I like that. That's yes.
And so now maybe the factories are turning out security bots.
Yeah, that was my exact thought. Yeah, like the production factories all of a sudden start building war machines and stuff like that.
Just in case, it's just one guy right now, but just in case. And it'd be wonderful if that ended up being the system's downfall. I don't know what that looks like, but just the irony of it. Like embracing the, I suppose, darker side of humanity and in that becoming conquerable by humanity, like stooping to their level.
Right.
Not necessarily like their conscious level either, because these people have grown up in this society. It's the only thing they've ever known, and so a lot of these concepts are foreign to them. But then I guess that helps you illustrate the character arc of the protagonist, because then they're learning from these things and having their own kind of monologue about it.
Right. And Grochek
And so then, go ahead.
Well, Grochek just brought up something very interesting. Would agents of this control system, would they embrace their own humanity through this? Maybe some of them side with the humans, others side with the system. Maybe some type of like philosophical conundrum among the agents of the control system.
Right. Because then you have whatever is still controlled by like the original AI, and like it's this dichotomy of order versus chaos. And so it's sort of like a Pandora's box situation,
Right?
where
Yeah.
that's the only thing that the AI can think to do to stop this protagonist, but it ends up backfiring spectacularly.
Oh, this sounds like it's gonna get bleak. Go from like a boring but utopian society to one that's just in total chaos with factories belching out war machines and.
War never changes.
Ron Perlman. I like Ron Perlman.
Get him to narrate the audiobook.
You narrate the audiobook? Yeah, I'm sure he only cost like what,
Couple mil.
yeah, $3,000 to $5,000, for
Per
half
word.
an hour, yeah, per word.
Oh, but I like how this is coming out, because then once we have this sort of internal chaos and like the society is fundamentally changing, now the protagonist maybe realizes here in the third act that they just need to shut the whole damn thing down, because otherwise the whole of society is going to be destroyed in kind of this this conflict between the old AI, quote unquote, and the new AI.
So in order to do that, the main character would need some type of position that they could either be able to infiltrate this system to do that, or be in a
Have
position to
knowledge of it at least.
Yeah, have knowledge of it, be in a position to have access to it. So how would that go about? If you get Morgan Freeman to narrate? Well, who knows? I mean, if the YA fantasy turns out to be a bestseller with, that I sell the movie rights on, maybe I can afford that kind of stuff.
No. Here's what you do: you get Morgan Freeman for the order bot and Ron Perlman for the chaos bot.
That would be awesome. That would be so cool. It's an audiobook that costs like 25 million, 50 million to produce. Yeah, that'd be good.
You'd make headlines. People would pick it up. You wouldn't make your money back, but maybe in like 10 or 20 years from the percentage of that exposure that become like regular buyers of your work.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great idea. You should just take out like a $50 million loan and sink it all into one audiobook.
Grochek just brought up something really. This is a really good idea. Maybe their job ties into why their chip is faulty.
Right, that's another detail that needs to be ironed out. So they're just like a plain everyman. They're just like a technician.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
this freak accident.
Well, I did want them to have a more common role in society. That was my idea from the get go.
Like there are no like executives
Right.
because pretty much the AI has become that middleman. Everyone is working class, pretty much. Yeah, Grochek, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, the control system, obviously. Hmm.
I will be right back.
All right. An idea is that it does not know the system at the start, but has to learn how to read the control system's programming as the story goes on and sees the changes to the control system when it pulls. Oh. And maybe that could even tie into how they realize that their control chip is damaged. My only concern with that is it might shove the main character onto too much of a rail where he can't really deviate from it. Not knocking the idea, I like it. But I'd have to think really hard how to handle that. Yeah, and to be completely honest, my knowledge of programming is extremely limited. I mean, I programmed some AI scripts for Morrowind mods. That's the extent of what I can do. Oh, and I did program a Mad Lib once. Yeah, the Morrowind stuff was self-taught. You know, I looked at the AI scripts of the NPCs and figured out what does what. Um, it's really basic. It's pretty much based off of like C++, you know, if then type stuff. Um, and then I took a programming class in high school, and it was the same thing, learning, you know, visual C++. And that's when I did my Mad Lib. Forgot everything right after the. Yeah, that's pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Hey, there is nothing wrong with The Fifth Element. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. So I'm taking that as a compliment. Yes, yeah, for sure. Okay, still haven't really touched on the main character's needs, wants, and ghosts.
I think my question is how much of those things, how much of a ghost could they have, considering like that they've lived within this society their entire life.
Exactly, but if they suddenly had this realization that things are just terribly different from how things have been, they're going to be haunted quite a lot by that.
So kind of the ghost appears when maybe even just in the first scene that this happens, where they kind of get overloaded, I guess, just in the course of doing their job.
All right, well, let's make some subsection here.
I feel like the need, at least, I feel like the need would be to like reconcile current society with how society was in the past.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, and because so much of that has been scrubbed from the from like public access, I guess, even from access by the executive, let's say the AI. Um, Maybe their initial step is to like try to go to a library, but they don't find anything, and so like they're just getting progressively more desperate for like these answers. Just like a an illustration of what society was like before it was basically like taken over. It was like controlled in this way.
Um, yeah, I think that would be good on needs because that would be like their more driving factor.
Yeah, it's a motivation behind them causing all this chaos in the first place.
Yeah. I'm out of tea.
Tea break.
Nah, I don't want to take a break. My brain's running too fast. I don't want to stop.
Do you have any other premises we were going to discuss today? Or it
Uh,
just kind of depends on how much time we end up spending on this one?
no, I mean it really depends on because this is the first time I've done this. I had a couple other lined up just in case this went fast, but it's not been going fast. um, well, it's been going quick, but you know we're not getting through it. I don't think we've.
Energetic.
Yeah, I don't think we've fully explored this by any means.
Hmm.
Maybe this one initially is to return to the status quo. Okay, that could be good. That could be good. Oh. Go ahead and split that up a bit. So what would his want be after? So say the system is too broken to fix, and he decides to, um, whatever that they end up deciding. What would their want change to at that point?
I think there's a definite aspect of like yin and yang, like order and chaos. And if we're going with like the idea that there's like these two AIs that fundamentally disagree and like are fighting um, over like I guess control of the populace, control of society, then like that fact that they cannot integrate um, and like come to a compromise could like it could motivate them to just shut both of them down and kind of return society back into the hands of the human race.
That gives me an idea. The chaos makes this singular AI personality split into two. So maybe you have one that's trying to restore the utopia, and the other that's, you know, afraid of this this anomaly so much that it's trying to exert forceful control over humanity again.
Hmm. Like it's willing to sacrifice the utopia as it is to remove this threat to it essentially does. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because in trying to eliminate this threat, it has the exact effect on society that it was trying to prevent.
Full fascist? Yeah, I know what you mean. Full fascist. I don't know. An AI, right? The original AI is a sympathetic villain, or even a trapped character trapped by its own programming. Yes.
Yeah, 'cause, the image I'm getting of this AI character is not that it is malevolent, only like it has humanity's best interest in mind, but it has sacrificed some core aspects of humanity in the doing.
Right. Oh, Grochek, you said you were on the phone, but did you want to hop in the Discord voice to talk in real time with us? Don't use Discord? Yeah. Uh, I don't blame you. I find it clunky, but so many people use it for so many things that I gave in. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. Overexposure to social media can do bad things for your mental state. Yeah, it certainly feels that way. I don't know why it keeps jumping back to the top of the screen when I do a new line. It's weird.
The AI doesn't want you to write this story.
Yes. The Microsoft Cloud is like, what's he doing? He's gonna break people's control. Stop him. Um, well, I mean that's quite a bit. Gonna leave that.
No, I think this is a good foundation. You got the essential story structure kind of sketched out.
Yeah, well, I know I'm gonna be thinking about this a lot on vacation. So I'm gonna be out in the woods for a lot of it, so I'll have a lot of time to think. Some of the main character versus the AI is gonna be introspections from additional characters. I don't know. I mean, I imagine that there will be more minor characters, maybe even some more main characters. I don't know. That's something that I'll have to bridge when I come to it. So I mean, my writing style is larger projects. Obviously, I've been doing a lot more planning on, but I'm very much pantser still, even with the novels. You know, got the main plot points I want to hit, and then just kind of let the characters get to them on their own.
Well, I'd say with 2 novel drafts in like a couple of months, it's working pretty well.
You know what? That's a very good point, and I'm super happy that I've had this kind of progress. I've never been able to do that before. Funny epilogue, system shut down. Backlash is so bad, the foundation of new controlling AI has started. Oh, good grief. Yeah. I mean, that is something I have to consider. What kind of ending do I want? Is this going to be a happy ending? Is it going to be like a more open ending where the reader is just kind of left guessing? Is it going to be an unhappy ending? Okay, so we'll open up a new document if we even get to that. I don't think we will. I think we're gonna run out the stream time. Just doing this. Unless you guys think that we pretty much run our course here, then I can start brainstorming something else.
I think there's a pretty good foundation here. I think there's still some stuff to figure out for sure. What the ending looks like, of course.
Yeah.
I think that became less important once we shifted away from like the changing the system from within, like a sort of political angle to it. But it's, of course, still very important.
Yeah, yeah. No, I kind of feel that, Grocheck. It's
Hmm.
it is
As to what the ending would be, though, yeah, I am out of ideas. I don't have a. I think it's gonna take like a fun twist to it, to come up with a good one.
all right. Answers if aliens live in this society. I'm leaning toward no. Um, yeah, I'm leaning toward no. The YA is like tangentially furry with sentient dragons, but I still think this should be more mainstream. I don't know. Honestly, I think we got enough, or rather, I have enough angles to play with here to just flesh this out and start building an outline for it.
I think there's a pretty solid image of the world, just a little more on the character side of it, and then kind of the ending will flow naturally out of that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, let me hide this real quick. That's the Mark Twain National Forest. There's an overlook that I drive by quite often when I go down there, and every time I do, I snap a picture because it's just absolutely gorgeous. No structures or anything in the shot, just nothing but forest.
Well, I am going to take a quick break to go get a cup of tea myself.
Okay. Yeah, and that's roughly where I'm going to be on vacation. And it's so gorgeous. There's like nothing around. So you go out there at night, you can look up, you can see the Milky Way. It's just it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful out there. So pop that back in. Okay. This was kind of my my premise for this next one. But I mean, we could switch back to something more, like, cause I'm more than open to like doing brainstorming for a sequel to the furry medieval fantasy or something tangentially related to it. So that universe is really fun to write in. And it is like, this looks Matrix-like, yeah, kind of like the other one, right? That's what I was just thinking. This is like, this idea could be too similar to the last one. Yeah, much more Matrix-like, yeah. Alright, in that case, look here. Well, brainstorming something furry, like definitively furry, seems like a good way to change things up. Making by aliens. Find out humanity has died. Yeah, that's... So let's start by laying some stuff out. Any thoughts on it? Yeah, several thoughts. It needs an extensive rewrite. A very extensive rewrite. I would like to do that. Because, I mean, like, I started writing that, what, 15 years ago? It's a story I would like to write. That I would like to finish. I had somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 words written, and they were written poorly back when I really didn't know how to write things. So, I mean, that is a... that has potential to span several novels. Yeah, and I actually have quite a few fans of that series still reaching out to me today asking, you know, what became of it, what we could actually do with it. But yeah, sorry, someone's at the door. But yeah, it's... I don't know. Like I said, I do want to finish it. I don't really even know where it's gonna go. and it would probably end up being pretty massive. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Maybe RSVP. That'd be more of a next month thing. Cause I definitely like to get some of the like gosh, now my mind's blanking. Like Dasher and names are blanking on me. All right, no worries.
Hello, hello.
Hello, welcome back.
We're looking at sequels.
It's just different ideas. Just trying to decide, like, what would be good to focus on with some of the furry settings that that I would like to keep writing in. Or I could do something entirely different. Welcome back. I don't know how familiar you guys are with these three settings.
I'll have to get back to you after this beta read.
Yeah, well, you're looking at the medieval fantasy novel, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's Piety of the Damned, right?
Yeah, Piety of the Damned.
Haven't cracked that one open yet. I just finished my first beta read in the queue of the other day, and then I have some poetry book, and then that one.
Yeah, and like I said, no rush on it. I mean, I know asking for betas on novels is like a huge commitment too, so it's a big ask. Yeah, no worries. The the medieval fantasy is it's written with a more realistic bent to it. Like there's no magic or anything like that. It's more like medieval living as it actually was. It's my own universe, of course, because there's talking animal people. But you kind of question if like gods actually exist because of like the coincidence. You know, it's left kind of open. Like, do they actually exist? Are these just coincidences or things brought about by people's devotion, or is there some type of actual divine plan at work? Um, which is which ties into like medieval religiosity quite a lot because they were not nearly so secular. The birth of skepticism. Yeah, this is more. I mean, it ties into a lot of the world events that are going on. It doesn't seem like so at first, but it ends up getting there. And at the end of it, it's just kind of wide open. It's like, well, what happens next? I'm like, well, okay, I guess I better write what happens next. Yeah, that wasn't a great elevator pitch. Um, it's this novel I just finished up. The setting is a monastery. Right now, I don't. These novels I just finished up, the YA fantasy, the medieval fantasy, and the YA fantasy, are the first two drafts, complete drafts of novels I've ever gotten done. Um, I'm looking to get both of them out into the world by next year, as well as the urban fantasy noir novella. But I'll post updates on all the gallery sites, like what's happening, when it's happening, where to get them. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that first brainstorm went so well, and with from So Furry, very little actually, very little. If I look at my metrics, it's only like one or two. Yeah, you know, it doesn't really matter. I get more coming in from the Twitter because I post when I'm doing streams on Twitter. Um, I worry that people think watching writing live streams is not interesting, which you know I didn't know if it was going to be or not. I've been told by several people that they have a lot of fun in my streams, and I'm hugely grateful for that.
And I mean, you hit affiliate just on writing, so
Right?
that
Yeah,
bodes well.
yeah. And I did that in a relatively short time. Got a human on
Yeah,
the phone.
it's like a
Okay.
month or less.
Yeah, it was a little better than a month.
I mean, part of that is just how frequent these streams are, which I love because anytime I'm available, you know, I can just drop in and have a chat and see what you're working on and work on my own stuff.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people that do the co-writing thing. They'll work on their stuff while I'm working on mine, which I like that. I like that synergy thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are people hitting, like, getting near to partner, just like streaming daily, like, crosswords and stuff. Like, there's a whole crossword niche on Twitch, so I think there's definitely room for like creative writing as well.
Yeah, and the writing community actually is fairly large on Twitch. A lot bigger than I thought it would be.
You know, Picardo does not even have a category for writing.
No. Well, neither does Twitch, technically.
Mm-hmm. But for a website specifically focused on art, you'd hope. But as usual, we are being sidelined.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not.
I feel so oppressed.
No, I'm not sure. I guess it's just because we're so visual. You know, we're such visual creatures that art always seems to take center stage. Like drawn art, visual art seems to take center stage. But man, you know, like a lot of this stuff, a lot of our great visual masterpieces like started as something written, you know?
This is kind of a tangent, but I'm surprised I don't see more like of a light novel format in the furry community, because you could easily leverage, like, okay, I'm gonna hire a popular artist to do some illustrations for the book, and you just, you know, spice those in there. I feel like that could be a good draw. Or even I have a friend who wrote a novel, and they are primarily an artist. So I feel like it would be a lost opportunity not to throw in some illustrations of their own in there.
Right. Well, I mean, look at authors like Ruckus. You know, Ruckus is an amazing artist and a very, very good author. So, have you read? Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say I haven't read any of their stuff, but I would be interested to see if they have any crossover between those two mediums.
Yes, they do. They do, absolutely. I mean, you can check out their For Affinity page, and they've got an ongoing story that they illustrate very, very good. Have you read Koa of the Drowned Kingdom?
Not heard of it.
Oh, really?
I'm getting some good references here, though, for reading material.
Yeah, hold on. Every 2 or 3 chapters got a detailed illustration. Yes, yes. So, Koa of the Drowned Kingdom, it's a cupcake. So it's like a novella, but it's written like YA. We did a UFR episode on it where we reviewed it, and all three of us just absolutely loved the book. But let me see here.
It's by Ryan Campbell.
Ryan Campbell, yeah.
I'm seeing it.
But Cooner did illustrations for it. Let's see if this focuses in. So.
I see a friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Look, it's me. I'm in the book.
So yeah, Cooner did the illustrations, and they're spread out. There's like one every 2 or 3 chapters. But they're really, really good illustrations too. Because I mean, Cooner's awesome. There's the main character, and like his main supporting character, the otter there, and the antagonist. So, it's out there. It's out there.
something I want to do with my own work for sure. So find an artist to work with on it. It's Koa of the Drowned Kingdom,
Yeah.
Koa. I'll post a link in the chat. I have it pulled up.
And we tried to avoid spoilers in our review. Yep, here we go. Copy link. So that's got links to the podcast episode about it, and where to get it and all that. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely our most gushing review. We all love the book.
You gotta have one of those now and again.
Yeah. But like we couldn't find many faults with it. Ryan Campbell does great with world building, so you can really picture what's going on. We described it as gay furry Cinderella.
I am intrigued.
Yeah, no, it's such a good book, and there's rumors that Ryan is working on the sequel, and we're all like, "Gib, please."
Next, it'll be Koa in the very, very dry kingdom.
But since there's not too much familiarity with the other furry style stuff yet, I think I can go ahead and call this a day on the stream, because it's got quite a bit to work at.
Mm-hmm. Got a sizable stream here, and you got a good foundation for another story.
Yeah, and it was so much fun having you guys come out here and throw out your ideas, talk through stuff. Lots of good ideas. So this is going to be fun. I think this is going to actually be a fun project, and it seemed kind of daunting at first when I first heard the premise, because I'm like, oh man, I don't really even know where to begin. Yeah, I don't really even know where to begin with this. So.
But now you got a beginning sort of hammered out.
Yeah, at least like I said, and I'm going to be thinking about this a lot on vacation, I'm sure. So I have to be sure to keep something with me where I can write stuff down.
Piece of bark and a piece of charcoal.
There you go. Yeah, birch bark peels easy. I'll just write it on the back of a piece of birch bark.
Just like the ancient scribes.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming out. This has been a blast. I may just rethink like the Patreon only model. First of all, because I have no patrons. But
you got Twitch subscribers.
I do have Twitch subscribers, and I have followers on SoFurry and all that. So yeah, I think making these mid-month brainstorming sessions public is going to be the way to go, because this has been really great.
At least for now. Give people a taste.
Right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I'm not going to be dropping my links or anything in the chat, because you guys already know them. And I'll see you back in the streams in about a week, I guess.
Alrighty. You enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, will do. And Grochek, thanks again for coming out. Really good ideas. Really good having you here. And as far as the Towards Antipathy brainstorm, I'll think about what to do with that. I'll maybe do like an RSVP on SoFurry, because that's where the fans of the series really are. And we'll get back to writing, hopefully hot and heavy when I get back in. So until then, thanks again for coming out, and happy writing.